Hi, I'm here with my friend and international superstar dressage rider, JJ Tate. Um, and I just want to give a brief background about how I came to find JJ. And it was funny, but it was years ago. And JJ, you probably know how many, it may have been a decade ago, that they did a dressage idol on television, and she was one of the stars of the show, and I
Oh
was
boy.
I was into it. I don't know how many people, actually watched it, but I thought it was awesome. It was with Robert
Robert
Dover,
Dover. Yep.
and
It was
I
Robert Dover's search for the next American dressage
yeah,
star.
that's right. But it was awesome, and I fell in love with your riding and the beauty that you have on a horse. It was just magnificent to watch you, and you were, probably just coming up then. I don't even know, but I had you posted as number one the whole time. So that was how I
Aw,
found
thank
you.
you so much, Donna.
And I was into dressage. I've been in equestrian my whole life, and I just thought, when I see someone look like you do on a horse, it stops me dead in my tracks. And then I was able to do a clinic with you years later with my boy
Mhm.
Stoli. He was at the time maybe 5, my little Morgan, um, and I did the clinic with you. And I remember he's now 12, so that was 7 years ago. I don't know how that happened so quickly. I
Yeah.
remember you teaching me so much about my elbows and about, how to get
Always the elbows.
elbows. That's what's in my head from JJ's elbows. But you taught me so much in an hour long, lesson. It was just magnificent, and it was a great experience. And he loved you and you loved him. Most people do. He's a pretty awesome, horse. But so that's how we reconnected. And then currently, I don't know, 6 months ago or something, I just thought about, really helping equestrians in what I do, coaching, to help them heal as a
Mhm.
human and to have a better relationship with their horse. And I just thought it would be great to talk to you. So I asked if we could get together and talk and let you know what I do, because I think we're on the same page with really honoring the horse and helping the human. And I know that you lost a dear friend.
Mhm.
Um, in the equestrian world to suicide. So I want to better serve that community, a community that has served me my whole life. And I thought that you were just such an awesome, soulful, heartfelt person that does so much for your community, the equestrian community, and then ultimately the horse. So that's why I'm with you today.
Well, thank you so much, Donna. As you were talking, it was 100% you reaching out to me after one of my dear friends, one of my best friends, actually, Teresa Buddha. Um, we lost her, I believe it was December 31st. Like it was, I found out about it January 1st. So 2020 for me has been quite a year. It started difficult and hasn't gotten much easier. I lost two horses, one old, one young. I lost my aunt unexpectedly from a bee sting. Um, and it's just like crazy things, that, with life, I do feel what's connected us so much is that, what we learn from horses and who our horses help us become really help us cope with life. I was doing a yoga practice yesterday morning and we were going through some difficult poses and the teacher was like of course on the internet, no one's doing anything in person. She's like, this is really great to get to know yourself and how you feel in these difficult poses, to really breathe through things and release what you're feeling is really healthy and it will help you in your life off the mat. And I was like, horses completely help me cope with my life
Right.
off the saddle. And I just thought like that's one of the reasons I love yoga so much too, but just this deeper part of connecting to life and connecting to another living creature. I just find it magnificent what horses do for us. And I know my discipline in itself is dressage, but that's really why dressage has always moved me and why I really, from a young age, I think I was 9 when I decided, like, dressage. I'm 9 years old and I love this. And I think it was because of that relationship with the horse, and I got really lucky. My first horse was an absolute saint. He was a saddlebred and absolutely my bestest friend in the whole entire planet, and I was a really ugly duckling. I was in the family of two models who are older than me and they're beautiful. My sisters are beautiful. And I had like glasses and braces and awkward with a capital A, like, ooh.
Wow.
And having my horses, really brought me a deep sense of self-worth and self-respect, and they really grew my inner life to such a deep level. Like, that's always been my number one part of why I do this. And then connecting with you, and then talking on the phone. I think we did another Zoom maybe in April, and I just felt like such a connection with you right away. And I can't wait to have you here in person when we can all travel and to do some of the work you do with us too, because without the partnership, it's not much fun.
Right, right. Yeah, I mean, I so agree with you. And horses again have been with me my whole life. And I started writing a book about, how they played a part in everything that I've done since I was a child, and how they really helped to form me and keep me out of trouble as a teenager, and then to be there
Yes.
for me when I was in horrible times in my life that I've had a lot of loss, and I was able
Yep.
to shed those tears and feel their power. And then once I got certified in equine gestalt, that's when I really learned about how they do it, and why we feel so great when we're with them. And so I know that we are kindred spirits for sure. And I can't wait.
Completely.
Yeah, I can't wait to be
I
with you
mean,
too in person.
and talking about that gestalt, like the minute you had said that, I know we talked about this before,
Yeah.
but I was a clinician at the Midwest Horse Fair, which is sort of a special thing for me because I always used to go as a kid. It's in Madison, Wisconsin, always, I think, the first weekend or second weekend in April. So it's
Mhm.
still very cold. But I was honored to be able to go back now. I think it was 2 years ago, maybe, that I was a presenter there and a clinician there, and I got to give a couple lectures, which was fun. And you look at the lineup of who's all talking and who you want to sit in on, and I sat in on the founder of the Gestalt, and it just spoke to me on such a level of why I love horses. And I even toyed with the idea of like, I think I want to get certified. Like
It's so true.
I bought all her books. I'm like, I'm getting the chills like talking
Right,
about it right now because
right.
I was like, yes, this is it. Like, I have felt myself
Yes.
without even being trained, just having an open heart to my horses and letting them be like my safe place. I find so much healing with that. And then I thought,
Mhm.
it's an actual thing. Like,
It
you can
is.
get trained in this. And then,
Yep.
like, whatever, like a year or a year and a half later, that I met you and you're like,
Right,
I'm certified. And I was like,
right,
it was like
right.
meant to be. It was
Yeah.
just like one of those things, like I kind of let it out into the universe. And then like you came to me.
And that's so true about lead. Part of what I do is, I have people write their vision, and it's a really powerful way that we do that. And I have them then read it with me and the horse. And once it goes out into the universe, man, all sorts of energy happens. And so
Yeah.
that is so powerful. And and I may be trained, but honestly, the horses are never trained to do this. This is so
Yeah.
highly intuitive in themselves. And they are so beautiful in what they do. And every time I see them do their work, I just tear up and cry
I
with
was
the
just gonna
client.
say, I'm like, is everyone sobbing? Because I
A-
feel like it would
Absolutely.
be just so powerful. It's
It is.
so powerful,
It is.
and
It's powerful and empowering to the client, and it just releases so much manure. So,
yeah, exactly, exactly. I'm like
yeah.
so excited it just like reinvigorates me again because, you know, we, I feel like from a deep level, maybe even a place a lot of us don't understand or even go into, like go into. that like we're drawn to horses and we're drawn to specific horses.
Yeah.
And I think it's always so important to be open to what that horse has been placed in your life for. And maybe
Absolutely.
it's a difficult horse, or maybe it's a, whatever kind of horse, but there's some kind of like they are some type of messenger from a greater power to help your
Totally.
soul grow, and
Totally.
I was just saying to a student the other day, I said, what do you look at when you ride past the mirror? What do you think is the most important thing you should look at when you go past the mirror? And she was like, oh, I don't know, maybe my position or his hind legs. And I'm like, his eye.
How
Look
about it?
at his eye. Because like that's the point, right? It's like, I know I want to go to the Olympics and I train horses for a living, and um I'm attempting to bring out their best, but really like I'm the one that they're teaching and I'm growing from. And I mean, I really was exposed to that. I had a wonderful first trainer named Gail Keln who exposed me to that way of thinking and growth as a teenager, which I am so grateful for not only those wonderful horses I had in my life during those hard, teenage years that we're all very formed. And I feel like a lot of our inner conversations that are sort of created at that time, going through puberty and being in
Mhm.
high school, and just the drama and the chaos of growing from adolescence into adulthood is just like a tumultuous time. And I feel like a lot of people carry that into their adult life, that then it sort of ends up residing in their bodies in some way.
Yeah.
A lot of times my women have rolled shoulders and they're
Yeah.
like down in their chakra and like, you know, insecure or like don't have their voice. And I'm so like, come on, like be loud and proud and
Right.
stand up for yourself, so you can stand up for your horse. And like he's telling you he needs you to do that, and I can't even imagine the power of your work,
Yeah.
because you're going in there. It's just
Yeah.
like
Going right in there,
I
going deep.
I sort of, yeah, I kind of scratch the surface, I feel, and I'm very like in tune with that, and I always want to see the higher picture and the higher point. It's like, yeah, he's not turning and cooperating with you right there, but like why is
Why?
that?
Right.
And
Right.
it's not just your outside leg is not helping. It's
Right.
like something deeper is going on. Like let's like
That's so
let's
true.
not let's unpack
That's
that
so
a little
true. I
bit.
love
you
that.
know
I love that. And that's what I do
and
when they're in the round pen and they're at liberty with the horse. And the horse is, when the client finally gets very grounded and very congruent with who they are and speaking their truth, and they don't even have to say it out loud. That's when the horse will join with them. And I will sometimes, some of the exercises I do, I'll have them walk and speak something out loud that is their
oh
truth.
my god.
And the second that that energy drops, or they have a thought like, maybe I don't believe that, the horse will stop. And I'll
Ah,
say like,
ah,
what were you just thinking a second ago? And, oh,
god.
well,
Oh,
yeah, I was
I'm
thinking that
like,
maybe that's not true.
oh, getting the chills
Yeah.
again. Like this is
Yeah,
the power work, and it's just like we're so just it's so wonderful to have horses. I mean,
it is.
it's this connection to this. I mean, they are kind of wild animals, and it's like we forget that because they're so
Mhm.
domesticated by this point and this time. And um there are moments and you remember that, that they can really kill us any minute if they
Any
wanted to,
minute.
and
Yeah,
I mean, it could, in a blink of an eye, an accident can happen because you
right,
get too comfortable, so you
right,
can't forget that. And that yet they're so gentle and connected to our inner truth, whether we want to admit that or not. Like they're just like, hey, I
right.
always say like horses like, you know, uh pick up the mirror and they're just like, so this is you, and
Absolutely.
you need to like see you so we can move through this. And you're just
Right.
like, no, I don't want to
Yeah.
see that. And it was
And
like,
you can
what?
be, yeah, you could be as
Yeah, and like,
powerful and beautiful as I am. That's what the horse is saying. Yeah,
yeah, and I always say too, like, I I wish as humans we could all learn to live like horses
absolutely.
more, you know? I mean, they don't I mean, they have the best memory besides elephants in the whole animal kingdom. So it's not like they're not remembering these things. And they do learn and, you know, are very intelligent that way.
Yeah.
But they're also like so much in the present,
Yeah,
you
they
know?
live in the moment.
And yeah, and it's like, you know, they're my mentor always says like they wear their emotions on their skin. Like if they're afraid, phew, they're gonna go.
They're,
If
yeah,
they're feeling really comfortable, they're gonna stop and lick and chew and just be. They
right.
just be. And I want to give my riders and who I always say who's ever handling the horse and riding the horse is the trainer. So I don't really feel like there's ever a differentiation of well, I'm a rider and it's like and I'm not the trainer. And it's like, well, you are you're training him. Maybe
That's
it's not
right.
what you want to be training him, but he's learning everything you're creating, you know. But,
Well, and
you know, that feeling
part of the
of
reason that we're here is to talk about this incredible academy that you created, the Team Tate Academy, and the things that you teach are not only just how to ride, but how to be and how to work with a horse and how to maybe work on some of your own stuff. So, would you talk a little bit about the Team Tate Academy?
yes, I grew up I met Charles de Compe when I was 11 and he is a classical master. He's now in his 80s and he was just here actually a couple weeks ago. So he's still, you know, going strong, sharing the good word of classical dressage. But he's always inspired me because he grew up in an academy and they, you know, rode the horse in stall number 1. Then the next day they came and rode the horse in stall number 2 and then, you know, and so on. And they got horses ready for the pentathlon, they got young stallions ready for their currings. So there was a lot of different experiences riding and they had lectures and they had classroom time and theory sessions and they learned about all aspects of horses and I've grown up with this imagination of what this academy was. He even sent me to Europe, to Budapest, Hungary for almost 2.5 years to study with Eula Dalos, who's a Hungarian Olympian. And just being in Budapest, knowing that Charles's ancestry was here and
Wow.
the amazing lessons he learned. You know, by that point, the Russians had sort of destroyed the academy in the war, but just being around that much history and it really connected me to Charles's past. And I got to visit his palace where he grew up, and of course that was all taken away when the Russian army came through. But it was really powerful, and then to be able to experience living and riding in Europe was magical. And I've always had this idea. He always planted this seed that I want to start an academy. Like what he teaches is so in alignment with what you do. We always talk about the rider virtues that horses teach us, and that everyone who ever was going to run a country, you know, future kings and queens had to learn to ride dressage because the horse doesn't care who you are
Right.
or who you think you are, you know, or what your
It's
title
true.
is. Like he's not going to say, you know, you know, yes, your highness. Like, you know, he's like, hey, you're pulling on my rein and I don't like that, you know. And so, you know, to be able to rule a country, you had to be able to rule yourself. And horses are the best teachers of yourself.
Mhm. So true.
And so Charles, you know, had grown up at this academy and he speaks, you know, about living in enlightenment, you know, living in enlightenment and what that means to know yourself and to honor the classical traditions of dressage. And I always thought like one day, I mean, I'd like to go to the Olympics and then I kind of wanted to go to the Olympics so it would be more people would listen because I'd gone to the Olympics and I would have been like successful in competition, so then therefore there's more merit there besides me just like riding around by myself in my place telling like people I know what I'm doing, so
I
there was
swear.
always like this, I swear, my horses like it, but like no
True.
one knows who you are at all. So I was always like, I'd like to go to the Olympics because I want to start this academy. And then we had spoken to some builders last year before 2020 started, and we were going to extend our arena and put up some classrooms. We've got a beautiful main house we could use as a bunkhouse, and there's a great meeting center in the middle, where we could, do some of the deeper talks about self and really grow everyone, not only as equestrians, but like growing your inner character. And then, of course, COVID hit. So that all got like, okay, no one's coming to visit, and I can't leave.
Right.
So we just went online with it. And so it's been just a wonderful experience for me. All of my students were like, you should write a book. We need like the book of all your exercises. And I was like, yeah, 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 in my free time, but I was traveling and I was showing, and I've got 20 horses in training, we're pretty busy. And then it just organically turned into, well, I mean, I like to talk. I'm easy with a microphone. So we just like hooked it up and I ride around with the microphone. My husband raises his arm because he's my cameraman. He raises his arm at like 9 minutes so that I could like wrap it up. But we wanted to keep, so the videos are all probably under 14 minutes, and most of them are like 12 to 14. And so it's a really easy, um, hey, I want to learn about how to get my horse more relaxed. I can click on that and I can just listen to it for 11 minutes while I drive to the barn, because there's also an app. I mean, it's just like, I am not good on computers, and I find it very easy to like maneuver into it. So every week a new video comes out. We I ride and I'm explaining what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, what I'm feeling, what are my aids, what am I looking for in the horse, what is the benefit of the exercise. I can show a little bit what it looks like when not done totally properly. So it's a really great just like
Right.
study guide for people. And then we've created our tack room chats, which is every other week. Everybody gets the 2 videos they should review, and then we all like sit around in our virtual tack room and discuss it.
Right.
So that's a
That's
lot of
great.
fun. And then for the apprentice level, I give a once a month lecture. We're also looking to have experts like you to come in and host another food for thought. Like, let's think about this in a deeper way, or let's have a veterinarian come in and talk to us about why it's important to ride the horse on the bit, because that's best for their body. And then the trainers, they get a once a month lesson, also with all the videos and all of
Wow.
that. And every Wednesday on Team Tate TV, which is a separate thing on Facebook, it's a private Facebook group that anyone can join. Every Wednesday, I call it our Wine About It Wednesdays, but I'm not complaining because I don't want to create anything negative. It's not like,
Right.
get me a soapbox and let me complain about
No.
the judging, or whatever. It's like
Right.
we have a toast to something. We all have our glass of wine and
Awesome.
we toast to something. Just last week, I spoke about one of my students made the really hard decision, honoring her truth that the horse she had is not the right match for her. And it's
Perfect.
through lots of tears and lots of, you know, heartache, because it's hard to admit that.
Right.
And, it's nobody's fault. It's the right thing to do, but like coming to that place can be really difficult. And so we talked about that in my last Wine About It Wednesday of like, when is it the right time to decide it's not the right horse for you, and that horse going on to a new owner might be the best thing
Yes.
for, it's not just you, and then it brings up, like, I'm sure you already know, um the feelings of being a failure. And then that's
Right.
just like, okay, so that's what this is about,
Right.
and I like to talk about that stuff because I feel horses, again, are our vehicle, for that self growth. That's not
So true.
usually that easy.
It's
But
so
I
true.
mean, and I feel like sometimes, the same lesson sort of shows up in your life, maybe taking a couple different forms, like maybe that client is asking you, is needing you to be really patient. And maybe that other horse is also needing you to like grow your patience muscle,
Right.
and so it's kind of comes in different um, vehicles, but it's always really about, looking inside yourself and finding that growth within.
Right. Well, I'm honored to be part of Team Tate Academy. I'm, a member, and I love watching everything. And I honestly wish it was available when I was actively riding, but it's really motivating me to get back to riding. And I have my Stoli, who is an extrovert. And part of what I also do is make sure that you understand your horse better in their
Yes.
temperament and yours. And he so wants to be ridden, and he just misses me. So I'm really trying to get myself back to riding again, because I miss it. It
Uh,
is when I feel my most soulful and spiritual is
yeah.
when I'm on the back of a horse. So, but
We just had that conversation about, um, like your life is stressful, and then like don't bring that ride to the horse. And I feel completely the opposite. Like getting on a horse is like my church,
it
and
is
it's just like all my problems fade away.
right.
And it's
Preach it,
just
preach
like,
it.
yeah, and it's just this like
It's true.
beautiful time, of like
Right,
two things, that aren't at all alike,
right,
but can really truly benefit from each other. I just find that so inspiring. And everyone's like, you're always doing so much. You're so busy. Like,
yeah.
wow, I can't keep up with you. What do you eat? Like are you like on coffee all the time? And I'm like, I do have a wonderful protein shake, but that's like
Right,
beside the point,
right,
because horses, just being around them is inspiring for me,
right,
and finding who I need to be for that horse,
right,
and then creating this sense of community with that horse. I love that. And like finding
right.
that horse's little key, that little key that will like bring his spirit and will over to you, that when you ask him to do something, he says, yes, okay, no problem. Instead of,
Right.
I do feel a powerful sense of responsibility to keep getting the beauty and the harmony of classical dressage out there, because a lot of times with people outside the sport, it can be seen as sort of like pressure and
Yeah.
control
Right,
and
right,
stuffy, you know, uh, and
right.
it's so the opposite for me. And I just appreciate you having me on here and sharing with your audience too, of good dressage is the best of everything. It's a
Exactly.
healthy, happy horse. It's a balanced, emotional rider, and that's what life's all about.
Exactly, exactly. It's beneficial regardless of what your discipline is in riding, and it's beneficial. Your entire academy is beneficial for the human and the horse, and really to make them a better team. So I really am so honored and grateful to, have you in my life, and being able to watch you anytime I want and learn. So I'm even more motivated. I think I have to get out there and get on my boy. Yeah. So thank you
Well,
so
I'm
much for
so
today.
glad. Thank you so much, Donna. I feel exactly the same, and I'm so excited about our future together. And I can't wait to, help more horses by helping their riders.
Yeah, thank you. Just thank you so much.
Thank you.